Hi, everyone. My name is Stephen Ho. It is an honor to be here today. I'd like to thank the organizer of the International Agricultural Innovation Conference so that I can share my observations on the challenges and strategies of family farms and enterprises in the agriculture sector in Taiwan with you. I have actually prepared a deck of 38 pages. However, it would take me over 45 minutes to run it by you. And so I'm taking the liberty to just go through 1/3 of it. DAC is organized in 3 sessions. The first one, I'll give you an overview of the agricultural sector in Taiwan. The second, focus on family enterprise farming in Taiwan. And the third section on challenges and strategies. It may be worthwhile for you to refer back to the deck. There's quite a bit of information that could be useful to you. So in the last 5 years, the nominal agriculture sector output amounts to about 320 billion NT dollars in 2020. And in terms of a percentage to the overall GDP, it hovered in the 1.7 to 1.8% range. From a broader perspective, including the value of food and beverage manufacturing, wholesale, retail, and services, the whole agricultural value chain accounts for over 7% of GDP. Generally speaking, the structure of the agriculture sector nominal output could be categorized as follows. The value of farm crops accounts for 50%, followed by husbandry at 30% and fisheries at 20%, while that of forestry is negligible in the scheme of things. It is worthwhile to note that for crop products, the cultivation of paddy rice provides 98% self-sufficiency. For fishery products, around 36% are from inland fish farming and 64% from onshore and offshore fisheries. In aggregate, they provide to the tune of over 150% self-sufficiency with plenty of surplus for export for Taiwan. Let's go to slide 15 now. Many factors have led to a steady decline in the number of agricultural holdings in most developed and some developing economies, a trend which is still continuing to date. Yet, when one compares Taiwan to other developed economies, it trails behind them and even needs to catch up with some developing countries. This table illustrates that 82% of all farms are cultivating on a land area only up to 1 hectare, and 98% of all farms occupies no more than 3 hectares. And these 98% of all farms takes up 91% of all farmlands in Taiwan. In comparison, Taiwan has a very high concentration of small-scale farms, not just as compared to its developed peers from Asia, such as South Korea, but even to developing economies such as Thailand, not mentioning select developed European and North American countries such as Poland and Canada. It's interesting to note that Holland, which has just about 15% land area over Taiwan, small farms of similarly sized, under 5 hectares per farm, occupy only 4% of Holland's farmland, as compared to close to 90% in Taiwan. The 845,000 agricultural holdings in Taiwan are by and large almost all family farms and enterprises. According to the 2015 agricultural census data, at least 99.8% and 98% of agricultural holdings in agriculture and fishery, respectively, are run and operated by families. go to the next slide. Percentage of both males and female farmers employees over 50 in the agriculture and husbandry farm enterprise are trending up. It's projected that over 100,000 people will retire from full-time agricultural workforce in the next 10 years. This really speaks to the labor shortage issue, which will be one of the challenges that we'll talk in more details later on. Well, small-scale farmers in all their diversity are part of a wider food system that is undergoing significant structural changes. The risks and opportunities for the future of small-scale agriculture need to be addressed against this wider food system context. Changes in food systems are being driven by a plethora of factors, some on a global scale, indiscriminately touching every corner of the world, such as climate change. Some are also global, but their impacts may reach different markets at different speed, such as change in diet and consumption behavior, while some are peculiar to particular economies due to geopolitical considerations, such as impacts brought about by multilateral or bilateral trade negotiations. I just list out 8 here concerning climate change, disease outbreak, trade, resource depletion, changing diets and consumption, population shift and urbanization, agricultural and food sector investment patterns, and the advent of technology. While by no means comprehensive, the discussion on the challenges and strategy in this section highlights what the family farms and enterprises in the agricultural sector in Taiwan are confronting, which are generally aligned with the peers globally, and how the public and private actors are dealing with such challenges. Increasingly, the strategies to manage risks and ensure business survival can't just address the economic aspect, but also innovation and sustainability. Not just many of these challenges are interrelated, it is the same for the strategies. For example, the strategy of adopting drones to spray pesticides more efficiently will address the challenge of shortage in labor caused by an aging population. While at the same time, the same drone could save time and effort with aerial imaging or pest identification and early warning signs to avoid a potential outbreak. The policies and strategies carried out by the government would continue to have a major influence on how the food systems will be shaped in the future, with implications for how family farms and enterprises would formulate their own strategies in dealing with a fast-changing world. Taiwan's agricultural value chain is still dominated by small-scale family farms, and the scales of commercial enterprises still lag behind the peers in other developed economies. However, when they follow to implement these strategies for the practices, if considered collectively, can transform production and marketing systems at an internationally competitive scale. Let's look at a macro level, the development of Taiwan's government's policies and strategy for the agricultural sector to date. In the first half of the last decade, the Taiwan government has started to address 2 major trends, namely the foreseeable labor shortage due to an aging population, as well as the Industrial 4.0 era brought about by the development of 5G, Internet of Things, big data, artificial intelligence. a series of initiatives to attract young talents to the agricultural sector, including an interest-free loan program to promising young farmers, and incentives and support for agricultural internships were launched in 2014. Leveraging on Taiwan's leadership in several tech sectors, including the semicon sector and the foundry sector, plus electronic manufacturing services, the Taiwan government launched the Productivity 4.0 program with a commitment to invest 3.6 billion NT dollars over the next 9 years to transform domestic industries to be competitive in the global marketplace, including agriculture. 10 agricultural industry sectors were prioritized then with specific resource allocation for projects in seedling, orchid, mushroom, marine fisheries, to agricultural facilities and technology. After the political regime changed upon the election of Democratic Progressive Party in 2016, the government continues to promote agriculture along the same line with the inclusion of new agriculture program. It's one of the 7 key initiatives in the so-called 5+2 industrial program announced in the same year. The government also activated the 6th National Agricultural Congress in 2018, 15 years since this national meeting was held way back in 2003. Strategic initiative formulated from a series of pre-Congress consultation sessions was set to implement along 4 dimensions, namely safety, sustainability, smart agriculture, and happiness, which aims to address welfare and risk management for farmers, as well as rural community development. Let's go to the next slide. The subject of continuing outflow of population and workforce from farm area as a result of industrialization and urbanization, which leads to the challenge of labor shortage in agriculture, has been discussed earlier in details in section 2. Please refer to section 2 for those statistics later on in your leisure. The government has been carrying out both retention and recruitment programs with welfare initiatives for the seniors and financial incentives for the juniors, respectively. In addition, there's also an effort to develop multi-functionalities and a more vibrant off-farm economy for rural communities, which are both attractive to farmers as a living environment and to urban visitors as an ecotourism destination. Family farms and enterprises can play their part in preserving the economy and raising the quality of rural living by investing in diversifying into agri and eco theme of tourism with government support to diversify the income stream. Technology has made time and hard labor saving assisted farming equipment more affordable, which could be adopted by both the young and the old generation of farmers. All these elements could be taken into consideration in the context of answering the questions of why, what, when, and how it comes to a potential succession plan for the family farm practice. Drawing references in the industrial world, agriculture investment has moved from agriculture 1.0 to 4.0. When investments on human capital needs to be budgeted, as always, investment in capital assets in the form of physical infrastructure and equipment has consistently been more capital intensive. Investment in agriculture 4.0 again requires investment dollars, but advance in technology has made such investment in human skills upgrade and in the digital infrastructure, including software, a lot more scalable from efficiency gain to yield improvement for farmers. It is for the government to deliver such support to the family farms in an equitable and affordable way. It is also for the family farms to make an effort to upgrade their management and analytical skills, the burden of which would mostly likely fall upon the shoulders of the young generation. The small landowner, big tenant concept provides a way to step out for those who want to exit and who are not interested to carry on farming. But for those who are more committed, could take the opportunity to consolidate more land or supply chain resources with corporatization of one's farm's practice as a platform to raise funds to scale up. Last but not least, AgTech in Taiwan doesn't function in exclusivity. It is part of Taiwan's tech ecosystem, home to most components of smart farming tools from sensors to drones. I'm encouraged to note that the Taiwan Agriculture Research Institute is developing many of the elements of the digital platform for this sector. While it is important for family farms and enterprises to also step up to upgrade their digital and data analytics skills, it is a tall order for the elder generation to operate software after a hard day's work in the field under the scorching sun. It is imperative that the government focus also on making the technology friendly to the farmers via its agriculture extension services. This ends my presentation today. Thank you very much.